Now, bear in mind, I've never been religious, coming from a secular country like Australia, but I did learn, and that's another story how I got there. I learned a lot about evolution and how it confers on you the ability to learn many, many different things. And Dr. Norman Doidge's book about this very matter says, when you learn to ride a bike, you develop new areas and millions of new brain cells, neuronal networks, where the skill is physically visible in your brain through a brain scan. So you can scan a person before and after learning to ride a bike, and you will see a material difference in the structure of their brain. Basically, more brain cells. Okay? That's a very powerful thing, and it's handed to you by one agency only, namely evolution, that makes everything you do possible. Okay? So bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Evolution makes all these things possible. Physical evolution. Now, can I agree with a whole lot of skeptics out there, a lot of skeptic viewers? Can I agree with you wholeheartedly that religions have done the world a tremendous amount of damage? That's beyond question. Anyone with half a brain can see that. Religions have done tremendous damage to society. And a world without religion would appear to be a much happier place. But the advice from Dr. Norman Doidge, with the 300 peer-reviewed scientific papers behind him to back up brain scan studies, Dr. Norman Doidge says negative behaviours shrink your brain, kill off brain cells, and they raise the level of a destructive chemical, glucocorticoid. It's sort of like acid, it's mild acid slowly killing brain cells, okay? More negative behaviours you do, the more you reduce your lifespan, your brain span. Okay, so he's put his finger on the mechanism that likely reduces the life of depressed and skeptical people, because skepticism is often related to depression. Okay, so, but I must still agree with you that the world would likely be a better place without religions. So how do you get rid of them? Well, there is a way to get rid of them while improving your own life. There's a way to do it. Instead of downgrading your brain all the time and basically killing off your own brain cells to scream slogans at other distressed people, fundamentalists on the internet, there's a better way. Do something positive. And I'll explain now what you can do that's really so positive, builds up brain cells, and it comes straight from evolution. It's a physical thing you can do, and it's as easy as riding a bike. And this will grow new brain cells in you also, just like riding a bike does. Okay, now here it comes. I'm now going to show you what the great religions wish to distract you from. That evolution provides you with all you need. It's been worked out over millions of years, everything you need to know. The skill is there, the ability, the capacity to learn new things is built into you in advance. You're born with this skill. To distract you from it, the great religions work very hard with holy books and all that stuff, okay? So, what we do, we spread the knowledge of this so that religions become irrelevant. Rather than damaging our brains, yelling at fundamentalists over the internet, we just quietly let the religion slip into oblivion, slip into irrelevance, by letting people know this is a way of doing something positive while diminishing the significance of religions. And here it is, straight out of physical evolution. It's really incredibly simple, and this is what you've been distracted from, and it's really very simple. It's the ideomotor effect. The ideomotor field is something like this. You take your hands off the keyboard and hands off the mouse, and you do it with me now, guys. Come on, do it now. Hands off the mouse, hands off the keyboard. You do it now. And you will very slowly find in about 20, 30 seconds, there's a slight tingling effect in both hands arises. I'm not making this up, by the way. Been doing this for years, and thousands of other people have done it also. And just by waiting a few seconds, you get a tingling effect in both hands. And what you can do is you discover you move one hand like this, and you'll notice there's a slight resistance to the movement of your hands, a bit like the surface of bath water. And secondly, the movement of your hands is, you can feel it in the tingling. It registers the movement of your hands. And then you find something else you can do, and this is fascinating for anyone who's an evidence-based thinker. I know you're all like that. That you can pat your hand and you can feel the pulse in the other hand. And it's not the wind. It can't be the wind. There's no sound effect or air movement effect doing this, because as you do it with me, raising this hand like this, pat, 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 it even works through sleeves, through clothing, all right? Now that's okay, it's perfectly normal to work through sleeves and clothing. You can pat here, pat, pat, pat. And you can still feel the pats landing in that hand up there, okay? The palm of that hand is the receive hand. This is your patting, your dominant hand, right? So you can pat through your jacket, through your clothing, and you'll find the pats keep landing in this hand here, okay? Now, that you can do this means it must have some evolutionary survival value at all. And it's not due to air movement or drafts or anything like that. And you can practice this every night, a couple of minutes before sleep. And what happens is that you learn to do this like riding a bicycle. You learn to do this by like riding a bicycle. And every day it gets more and more easy, and you wonder why it was so difficult in the beginning. But this is actually easier than riding a bike. You know, no danger with this one. You're not going to skin your knees here. But what happens is you just do this every day, a couple of minutes every night. And by the end of the week, typically 3, 4, 5 days, something like that, evolution rewards you. Something that you physically do, you've done before, dreaming, which is entirely a physical thing inside your brain, your dreams change suddenly because you've woken up to the fact that you can do this ideomotor field thing. And you start to get some vivid messaging dreams with some very valuable and useful messages. And this is all made possible only by physical evolution. Let me insist to you that dreams are not supernatural. They're physical events in your brain. Animals dream, lower animals dream. Okay, so you can dream too. You have plenty of permission there to dream. Okay. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to say something about how on earth does the ideomotor field work through my jacket sleeve, through your clothing, your shirt. Well, lots of other invisible forces work through your clothing. When you're riding a bike, gravity and your balance works through your clothing. They are both unimpeded by your clothing. So why can't the ideomotor field, the ideomotor influence, work through your clothing too? Just think about it. Lots of things go through your clothing, like heat and cold, wind, lots of influences that you can feel. Okay, this is just another one of those. Okay, so it's kind of straightforward, and this is really much easier than learning to ride a bike. No danger, you won't be run over by a car, anything like that. So something you can do every night, 2 or 3 minutes before sleep. Pat your ideomotor field, and by the end of the week you'll have some very interesting, vivid messaging dreams. Now, some people will say, suspicious people, are going to say, oh, this is all in the mind, it's just suggestion, it's hypnosis, that sort of stuff. Well, it's absolutely not, because you can pat, like this, the ideomotor field of a sleeping person without touching them. Just go pat, 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 pat. Takes a few seconds to get started. Pat, pat, pat on your sleeping partner or a sleeping child. And the person's eyelids will start to flicker without your touching them. And you can repeat this night after night after night with your sleeping partner, with a child sleeping on your lap. So they're not even aware that you are there, but their body shows a physiological response in the form of eye movement under their eyelids, and you can vividly see this. And also, their fingers will start twitching even though they're asleep if you just go pat, 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 pat on their ideomotor field. Now, this is entirely conferred upon you only by evolution. You know, if you can do something, it has survival value. That's one of the rules of evolution. So you're really only sort of exploring all your, what can I say, your evolutionary toolbox. It's given to you as a gift by the forces of evolution. So it's kind of a wonderful thing to play around with. And the most valuable thing you can do with it is it answers a lot of questions. Frequently you don't know, you can't trust people. But you can ask a question a day, every day, dwell on one question only, and you'll get the answer in a dream in a day or two. This will happen probably about 2 weeks. You just keep doing this, playing around with body fields, this idiomotor field, and you'll start to get answers in dreams, and you can write them down, and they're very useful. And another part of your brain now starts to work, and more brain cells will grow to accommodate this new skill exactly like they did when you learned to ride a bike. Okay, it's that simple. Any questions, put them to me. All questions will be answered. Below this video you might register whether you can do it. Most people can do it within 2 minutes. 5% of people need their hands, need a few days practice to warm up. That's just, some people ride a bike quickly, right? Some people take longer. It's a physical thing in their brains, okay? So I'll leave you with it, skeptics. See how you go with that. Over and out.